All right, we are live. Welcome to my attic, to another Joseph Morris live stream. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining me. I am a speculation channel, so if speculation isn't for you, that's fine. But if it is, please hit the subscribe button or ring the bell for notifications. I have my little sidekick right here joining me throughout this live stream. So she's a little camera shy right now, but I'll bring her out to the end. And I love reading your comments, but it is hard for me to read while I'm doing my live stream, while I'm doing my presentation. So I will try to save them for the end and while I'm watching videos. So let's get right into it. The first thing I'm going to play to you guys is a bit lighthearted because this is all about Gabby Petito. Let's not forget that as much as Brian Laundrie is stealing the show right now, this is all about bringing justice for Gabby. So let's get right into her memorial features, which today there was an airplane in the sky flying a banner. And it's the same airplane that the TikTok fundraisers has raised. So I don't know if the Laundrie family really saw this airplane because as we all know, they're hunkered down inside. They barely leave their place. They are avoiding all questions and they basically don't want to talk to anybody or see anything. But let's just hope this makes big news and they do end up seeing it. So let's just spread that news right here. Here we go. It says, "End the silence, justice for Gabby." So that is what it says. End the silence, justice for Gabby. I much appreciate this one more than the last one. The last one said something about TikTok. I think this one is a beautiful message. As we all know, the Laundrie family isn't talking. So this means a lot to people who want them to talk. Hopefully they join the lead with Cassie basically setting the example. We all know they only talk when they're trying to get ahead of the story. So very, very interesting. And let's keep it up, guys. Like, we got to get them talking. We got to get them going. We don't want this case to go cold. So very, very important. Again, I thought this was a very cute little memorial again, where there's a bunch of butterflies at the memorial at Northport. So as you all know, Gabby Petito's main thing was butterflies. If you look at her Instagram, it's a lot of emoticons. I'm sure if you were to pull up her text messages and look at what the most frequent emoticon is, it would be a butterfly. So people are basically at the Northport Memorial are putting butterflies on her memorial. Apparently all this stuff is going to be taken away eventually. But that is where most of the memorial is supposed to go. So there's actually kind of two memorials. There's the official one at Northport Town Hall, and there's also the unofficial one on the Laundrie's front lawn. The Laundries obviously don't like that. The cops basically came up to them and threatened that if you put them on the front lawn, it's going to end up being thrown out. So you know what? The flower delivery started putting them at the front door, and we love to see it. My favorite one was Gabby was here. There's also one where there's a laundry basket on the front lawn and says, "Time to do the laundry, you dirty laundries." Yeah, so getting right into my next little clip here is a sighting that was very popular on YouTube today. There's actually a channel on here that basically plays the live stream of the dispatcher in this Sarasota area, and you can tune into this live stream. I think anytime throughout the day there's like 300 people watching it, and people are just paying attention to any sort of anomaly that may have to do with Brian Laundrie. So today there was a sighting in Sarasota itself. It was a van, but let me know what you guys think. Do you believe this or not? I can give my little spiel after, but let's get right into it.
Dispatch units in the area from 11 Fiesta Key, standby for Volo from the city. Volo for a 13-person caller advised they believe they saw Brian Laundrie approximately 11:40 hours at the North Fiesta Drive Bridge. Subject was in a white van, Nissan Cargo style type, Robert 98 Lincoln Adam. Last seen headed towards Fiesta Key approximately 11:40 hours. Volo only.
So that was the dispatch call, folks. Again, it was near the Fort DeSoto campground, but not on it. It was just a little bit off on the bridge. I don't know if I actually believe this one because it does say it's a white van. Again, not sure if I believe that. Because if I was Brian Laundrie, I believe that he would be far away from his hometown of Northport, Florida, possibly in the Appalachians, as people have mentioned. We'll get to that in a bit, but basically I am giving some credibility to that sighting because of some research that a fan actually did for me. It was so awesome, and I'd love to see that kind of research. So if you have any sort of research you want to send me, I'll gladly shout you out on my channel. And then that is basically, you can send that to about on my about page. It has my email right there, or you can find me on Twitter at JLD Morris, which is also my YouTube channel name. So basically the police are getting a lot of information. People are listening to the dispatch calls, and the Sarasota sheriff actually reached out and basically gave this statement to us. They write, "We understand interest in traffic scanners. However, it is how we communicate. It is real time and changes by the second. We have received several reports of Brian Laundrie sightings, and there may be more. Please know that we will tell the world and when we have him in custody." So very, very interesting when they tweet this out. It's nice to see a statement from somebody. I know it's only a small lead, but trust me, I follow them and I rang the bell for notifications because I want to know Brian Laundrie was in there. There's a lot of people making jokes that maybe they should actually have a live stream going on, but maybe they won't go that far. All we have is a dispatch right now, and you can listen to that on your phone or on YouTube or anywhere on any sort of browser. It's called Broadcastify, not sponsored. It is free, and it's a lot of fun to listen to. So that is that story, and right now we're getting into our favorite man of the hour, Mr. Christopher Laundrie. And again, guys, so if you see that banner, it says, we need you to talk. And that's one thing that the dirty laundries aren't doing, is talking. And it's very, very frustrating because we only get little nuggets of information. And from those little nuggets of information, we can only theorize and speculate so much. We don't have the full story. And in fact, most of the times they end up finding that they are lying. Well, not lying, but changing their story a lot. So one of the big breakthroughs actually was apparently they went camping, they went hiking. Actually, they drove, the son drove their Mustang on September 14th. That was widely reported around my channel, September 14th as the date. As we found out later, the Laundries work opposite as everybody else. They tend to remember things more as time goes on. So the date actually ended up being September 13th. Thank you so much for this super chat, Tanya Friedman. So the date actually ended up being September 13th. And it's funny because we actually, the eagle-eyed viewers, noticed that their Mustang was in their driveway on September 15th. So if their story was right, how did their Mustang end up in their driveway on September 15th if it was at the Florida Reserve for 2 days and he went hiking September 14th? I think they got caught in a lie and they had to change their story. They changed their story to September 13th. Funny how that works. Also, a little note here is that Christopher Laundrie told CNN today that he actually went out on September 13th to look for his son that night. Before, it was reported that he only went September 14th to look to his son. So that's a little additional detail that we learned from them, that September 13th was the date that they went looking for the son. They went looking for the son again with Roberta on September 14th, and that's when they saw the abandoned car notice on the car on their Mustang, and then they drove it back September 15th because they were like, well, it's going to get towed. The lawyer does get a lot of things wrong. We have a lot. He is, Bernardo is the lawyer's name. I forget his name. But he was a real estate lawyer, and, he doesn't have much experts in, criminal law. So this guy, basically did get the burner phone wrong. He reported it as September 14th. All news reports called it September 14th. Thank you so much, Julie Remetz. All news reports called it September 14th. But he said it was a typo, and then now all the news reports had to change it to September 4th. Again, it was Roberta going to the AT&T store with her son on September 4th to buy a phone. So there's actually 2 phones that are available that Brian Laundrie owned. FBI is only in possession of 1 phone, and that is the new phone. This is the phone that he left behind while he was hiking. He also left behind his wallet. Again, we just received confirmation from the police that, thank you so much, Jordan G, that they don't have either of their phones in their possession. They don't have Brian Laundrie's cross-country phone, and they do not have Gabby Petito's cross-country phone. They don't know where those phones are. Are they looking for them in the Florida Reserve? The police basically confirmed that they found nothing in the Florida Reserve for the 3 weeks that they've been there. More on that in a little bit, but let's get into our good old Chris Laundrie here. This is very, very interesting. Here is him laughing. There he is, laughing. Let's watch that again. Actually, let's put that on loop. So this is him at the Florida Reserve yesterday, searching for his son, maybe not doing the best job in the world, but we caught a little glimpse of him with the FBI agent laughing. So what does that mean? Is the FBI laughing because it's like, got you, you're drinking out of that water bottle and I'm going to use your DNA later? Or are they trying to get him to talk? I think, they are trying to get him to talk. Thank you so much. Time's up, Brian. Justice for Gabby. Yes, hashtag justice for Gabby. So if I'm looking at this, Christopher Laundrie, why is he laughing? It could be because, they're trying to get him to talk because he's not talking. And something that is so interesting, this case gets crazier and crazier. Look at this. Tell me that isn't Brian Laundrie. I mean, the resemblance here is just uncanny. So with the FBI basically being like, well, this guy looks like Brian Laundrie, so we're going to get him to pair with Christopher Laundrie. So maybe he's making a joke here. It's like, you look like my son. Isn't that funny? And now he's warming up to the FBI agent. So Christopher Laundrie, if you're listening to this, please talk. You haven't been talking. You've been avoiding any sort of questions by the media. You didn't really report Gabby Petito missing. You don't want to talk to the cops. Very bizarre. Thank you so much. Hey guys, I need Joseph's email. I'm not seeing it on the about page, though I'm seeing the Twitter info. Yeah, my email is my Twitter handle at gmail.com. Thank you so much for that question in the super chat. So again, they're just trying to get him to talk, in my opinion. Very, very interesting to watch. Pairing him with a guy that looks identical to Brian Laundrie, I think I don't believe in coincidences on this channel, and I don't think that was a coincidence. I think he's basically trying to get something that looks familiar to him to get him to talk. So Brian Laundrie, please talk. Christopher Laundrie, please talk. And Brian Laundrie, please turn yourself in. You've caused the Petitos enough pain. I mean, they had to wait from September 1st to actually August 25th to September 11th to hear what had happened to their daughter, and they're still waiting to turn yourself in to bring some sort of closure to the case. So they have suffered enough, so please turn yourself in if you're listening to this. Hey, crazier things have happened. If I want to get into the next thing, as how he basically dodges all questions from the police. And if you want to listen onto this real closely, thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate Justice for Gabby. Jordan G, thank you so much for all your contributions. You can tell that he is just not talking. He is tight-lipped. This could be instructions from the FBI, but this tight-lippedness has started from, September 1st when Brian Laundrie allegedly arrived to the home, although that could have been a way earlier. They went to Fort DeSoto campground. Basically, there is no such thing as guilty conscience with the Laundries, in my opinion. The way they acted was very suspicious. Wow, thank you so much, Stacey Foley. I love that. It looks like a corgi hugging a heart. Thank you so much for that sticker. So again, let's just play the clip of him getting the recycling, and he's mocking reporters. Again, there's this kind of issue with the Laundries and the attorney, Bertolino is his name. I remember it now, Bertolino, basically throwing reporters under the bus and dismissing them. So if you remember correctly, Cassie said something that was caught in a lie, basically, where she told ABC that she never talked to her brother, but it ended up Bertolino throwing her under the bus, that she actually saw him September 1st, and then she saw him again September 6th and 7th at the Fort DeSoto campground. Actually, let me correct that. September 6th, the Laundrie parents were there September 6th through 7th, even though Dog the Bounty Hunter saw them at theirs September 6th through 8th. So again, the dates are a little bit sketchy here, and maybe they'll have to correct that in the future. So let's get into how Christopher Laundrie dodges all questions from reporters, and this is probably the most he's ever talked to a reporter, so it's kind of interesting to watch. Let's watch.
get news. Nothing to do. Let me walk by. Sorry. Give us a statement, we'll leave you alone. If you say anything to us, we'll leave you alone. Anything at all.
Totally dodging any sort of questions.
Search yesterday? Say that again? I couldn't hear you.
Chris, can you say anything?
Yeah, so very sassy, very rude. Thank you so much for the super chat, Sunkissed. Really appreciate that. I thought that was just very rude. You know, people want him to talk. Again, you see the banner in the sky being like, please no more silence. People want him to talk. People want this case closed. I want this case closed. You know, I'll be completely 100% honest with you guys. Today was a very slow news day. And just the fact that like Chris Laundrie isn't talking and could help break the case open is very, very upsetting, because we're only getting with a bit of nuggets. He's not talking, you know. And something that's kind of interesting about this particular interaction is that I don't really have too much photos of Chris Laundrie, but you know, if I'm looking at his tattoo, it's a very weird tattoo. It's a very peculiar tattoo. I don't know what that is, guys. Like, is that a spider? It looks like a squash fly. Very weird. Thank you so much. I can't say I feel bad for Chris Laundrie, but the constant media in his face is definitely putting pressure, but I do agree it's much needed. Thank you so much. Love your blue eyes. Oh, thank you so much, Tammy Coleman. One way to my heart is complimenting my eyes or my dog. So you got one of them and everybody else got the other one. Thank you so much, Tammy. Really appreciate that super chat. Yeah, so we have basically, you know, squash fly on him. Someone did a little bit of research, and I think this is kind of a bit of a stretch, but we have right here, apparently in prison, a spider tattoo. Thank you so much, Heather Latone. In prison, another way the black widow tattoo is used by men in prison, the spider tattoo or web tattoo is used to represent their incarceration and being trapped in prison, like being caught in a web. So I don't know too much about Chris Laundrie. Again, this is a speculation channel. We just kind of speculate and talk about newsworthy events. Again, we only have so many nuggets to go off of. So, you know, seeing that tattoo was very interesting, and seeing that kind of meaning behind it is also very interesting. I don't know too much about Chris Laundrie. I know there's some reports out there about him, but I don't know if he's ever been to prison. I'm not saying that on my channel. I'm just saying, you know, that tattoo is a little scary, to be honest with you, if that is the case. I mean, could it be a spider? We don't know. Chris Laundrie, please talk. Sorry, guys. It also turns out on Twitter, happening right now, is people are going around to his juicing business, because I'm sure you guys know that he owns like juicing or something like that. And if you actually like do some digging on this, there are listings of his juicing business online. But the problem with this is that people have actually started following through with these addresses, seeing if they're true. And one person called nerdy_addict is basically going to all these addresses and finding that there's no businesses there. One of them is a P.O. box, to be sure. And this one, outside of his P.O. box, you can see that there was a bus, and basically people on Twitter were speculating that this could potentially be Brian's hideout. So the authorities were called on him. He's doing some basically on this bus. The authorities were called on this bus, and he's basically doing his own little like investigative reporting by going to these various places that apparently have the juice shop at, which is kind of crazy, because it turns out there's no juice shops. So I have another one right here where it is his business right here. And if you want to just like look at this, this is allegedly one of his juice shop businesses, but you can't actually see anything. There's no juice shop here. So again, one of them is a P.O. box and the other one is an actual address. Both of them, there's no juices here. So this is taken by drone video. It's very close to apparently Bertolino's law office. So I believe it may be in New York because I'm pretty sure Brian and Gabby were both from New York because they met in high school and they were actually high school sweethearts. So yeah, his businesses all have New York addresses, but you can see that there's no juice shop here. Like, it's some weird little like storage facility. Someone brought up maybe this is the storage facility that he was trying to help. No idea. So on this channel, we talk a lot about the newlywed murders, and this theory has more so to do with the newlywed murders. So when Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito came to the area of Moab, Utah, there was 3 murders in that time, whereas before that, it was a pretty quiet town. Nothing happened there, but obviously there was the Gabby Petito homicide, which is tragic, and there was also another couple called the Newlyweds that were also murdered there. So on this channel, you know, I will gladly eat my words, but we basically potentially link them to this, you know, newlywed murder, Brian Laundrie. Let me just pull up what these 2 people look like right here. They were last seen at a bar in Moab, Utah, the day after the traffic stop. So this is a bit of a confusing story. So basically August 12th was the traffic stop between Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. This bar scene you're watching right here on August 13th was the day after the traffic stop. So the day of the traffic stop, Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito were separated. Brian Laundrie went to a hotel. This hotel was a 7-minute walk away from Woody's Tavern. Okay, so this is Woody's Tavern. This is right by the motel that Brian Laundrie stayed at. Okay, so that's why I think this is very spooky, that there's some sort of coincidence there. That, you know, on this channel, we don't really believe in coincidences, but it's very bizarre that there has been no murders in that area, and then Brian Laundrie shows up, and there's 3. I think we also had Dog the Bounty Hunter basically speculating as well that Brian Laundrie may have been a serial killer. So again, on August 12th, they were separated, and he went to this very CD, I sounded like I was saying CD, like a CD player. No, it's a CD motel that basically said no dogs allowed. We did a feature on it on this channel, and it was a $72 a night motel. Well, it turns out that, you know, during the actual body cam footage traffic stop, Brian Laundrie basically kept insisting, can you drive me to Arches? Can you drive me to Arches? Arches is a campground. If you want to actually download the app called Dirt, D-Y-R-T, Gabby Petito and Brian were contributing to this app, and you can see that they really highly respected and loved the Arches. Thank you so much. On Brian's pictures, he had a spider tattoo pen. Interesting. I'm going to follow through with that. Thank you so much, Wendy. I'm going to mark that down. So, you know, it's potential that he was a serial killer. There's also, he was reading a book called Annihilation, which is about 3 women who were murdered and then one got lost in the wilderness. So there's all this kind of like theories out there that maybe he is a lot more nefarious than we see. Thank you so much, Estella. So these newlywed murders basically happen in and around the time that Brian Laundrie got in a big fight with Gabby. So is it possible that he decided to not stay at the motel and go to a campground and stay there instead of the motel? The newlyweds go to the bar and complain about a creepy guy, and then they end up murdered. So the cause of death was a shooting. So, you know, it'd be very interesting to know the manner of death with Gabby Petito, because it is the same MO, modus operandi. It could possibly linking them even more, but we don't know the cause of death, and the FBI will not release that information, which is also a big frustrating part of this case, because we only get a little nuggets to deal with. We don't get all the information because in that case, the FBI may actually use the cause of death against Brian in a court, in an interrogation setting. So if Brian goes, I didn't strangle her, they may be like, well, how'd you know she was strangled? Kind of thing, right? It may be used against him. Something else that may be used against him is the fact that he's running. So where am I going with this? So the newlywed murders, basically the dad was interviewed by a reporter and said that there was missing keys found around the girls. So the girls, the ladies, the women basically had, keys found in and around them. And a big theory right now is that Brian Laundrie lost his keys, and that's the reason why he flew back August 17th to the 23rd to get his keys. It had nothing to do about a storage unit because, as we all know, storage units in the Northport area are only $75. And if he was actually going back to save a ton of money, a round trip to Florida is $1,200. So that makes no sense. We believe that may be a lie as well on this channel. But what I wanted to talk about was a new suspect. And that is the cover of this channel. This is the lead story. Maybe I did Brian Laundrie dirty with the newlyweds. Maybe it is somebody else. And I found this guy who actually was wanted around the same time as the newlywed murders. So basically, this guy was in a mental facility and he escaped July 30th. And he was on the run all the way through to September 28th. So I only found out about this recently because it only happened recently. But this guy escaped from a mental facility and he was in and around the Utah area camping. So I just want to pull this guy up right here. Not to take anything away from the Gabby Petito case, but this guy was wanted. The U.S. Marshals captured him. He actually escaped from a mental facility. He was a male. His name was Sam Freemason Bison. You can read what he did, and very interesting that this is also the modus operandi of how the newlyweds were treated. So basically, there is some connection there. So I don't want to I just kind of want to talk about maybe there is a new suspect in the newlywed case, because as we found out, he doing some digging on this guy's Facebook, he was actually hiking around the Utah area. And you may be wondering how he was identified. Well, apparently in that area, there's big wanted signs all over. And then he was posting on this one thing called dispersed camping. And he goes out for a hike looking for a good spot to camp. Hike was great. So he escapes a mental facility and starts making all these posts as Jason Holt on his Facebook, which is an alias. He's not actually Jason Holt. He's the other guy I just said. So this guy is all over Facebook making all these posts, and then one of his posts actually had his face in it. So this is a little bit of a creepy video, but this is him dancing. I had to get... It's so scary. So Kim asked, was Gabby shot? I'm not saying she was shot. No. Okay, so the point of that video was they basically screen grabbed his face and realized that he matches up with this guy and that he's a wanted man, so he was captured. But something that really gave me chills with this case, and I don't want to take anything away or cast doubt on Brian Laundrie, but if you look at his Facebook post and if you look at Gabby's Facebook post, there's something very similar. So on the left-hand side, we see Gabby's post, brought a small piece of home to the canyons, she writes, and you can see that there's a tent there. This on the right is the wanted man's Facebook. And if you look real close at his Facebook, he was camping around the Utah area, also Colorado. But this photo was taken on September 15th, I believe, and it shows a tent that's very similar to Gabby's. So is there some sort of connection there with Gabby as well? Again, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to cast doubt on Brian. I think we need to find Brian. But it is very interesting that in and around this time, there was another man on the loose from a mental asylum with a violent history that just so happened to have the same camping tent as Gabby. And I know this particular tent is actually very popular at Walmart, but it's a very strange coincidence nonetheless. So is that guy potentially going to be found out for the newlywed murders? I hope so. The newlywed murders are still a case that is unsolved, and it is a pet case because it happened in and around the same time as Gabby. Not to take anything away from Gabby, but that is a pet case as well. The Utah cops basically said that they're not related, but we know that the Utah cops in Moab particularly weren't the best cops. They're currently under investigation right now because of how they treated the body cam footage. There was that premonition at the end where he's basically like in the second body cam footage, he's like, I don't have a crystal ball, but mostly situations they escalate, and one of them ends up dead, and that's exactly what happened. Something very bizarre about that case as well is that it turns out that Gabby was the victim and Brian was the aggressor, and then in that body cam footage, basically he said all the stories lined up when in actuality they didn't line up at all. So do I really trust the Moab police? We also have the Woody's Tavern basically coming on record on their Facebook saying that they said that they left August 14th. The Moab police in the report said August 14th. But Woody's Tavern, as we just saw from that particular security footage, it was August 13th. So they're already botching the investigation. I'm just scared that case will never get solved. And I'm talking about maybe there's a new suspect in that case and potentially in Gabby's case as well. Not to cast any doubt on Brian. I think Brian is still a person of interest and is obviously guilty of this case, the homicide, and he needs to be talked to. In my opinion, I think that's the case. So getting right into the next story, we have the attorney's statement. So I found this attorney statement very, very interesting. There was heightened activity at the reserve, the Florida Reserve, the past couple of days, and we did this big speculating, this huge speculation that maybe a body was found, even though, if a body was found, the birds were circulating. But, it turns out maybe they're just looking for evidence. They're looking for phones. They're looking for, anything that he threw behind or anything that was dropped behind, and that they're basically using canines to help build a case, a homicide case against Brian Laundrie. That is basically a speculation, but we found out that there was no campsite found. Chris Cuomo was the one that basically broke that story, and it was all over CNN. Turns out the campsite story was fake. More on that in a bit, but let's get right into what the attorney had to say about the search.
No, I think they got a tip. They got some evidence that Brian was out there in that swamp at some point, and they are looking at it. They may have found a campsite or something. Or else I can't imagine they would have brought the father out there. I don't think they're bringing the father out there to try to get him to talk against his attorney's will, because that's not what the FBI does. That's against their guidelines. And they don't want to jeopardize this case by breaking the rules, giving any chance to suppress evidence. So I think this was just about a tip. And it looks like he was there at some point, although I'm not sure if he's there right now. I think the person up in the Appalachian Trail may have something there. It looks like the FBI spoke to that witness for about 45 minutes today.
Yeah, so the FBI did actually end up speaking to that witness. And that witness basically told everybody that the FBI also received 11 reports from the Appalachian Trail. Another article I read said something like 28 reports around the Appalachian Trail. So could the Petito family get their wish that they find Brian Laundrie alive? So if you actually watch their Dr. Phil, thank you so much, Samantha Bond. If you actually watch the Dr. Phil episode, Tell All with the Petito family, basically they said, we want to find Brian Laundrie alive because we want him to be in a jail cell. He's an outdoorsman. Even though Cassie Laundrie says that he's a mediocre outdoorsman, he's still an outdoorsman after all. He likes the fresh air. He likes the trees. So living his rest of his life out in a jail cell would be the best sort of punishment. And they want to find him alive. And you know what? I agree. And I really, really, really hope they get their wish. This is what this channel is about, trying to spread information about Brian Laundrie so that we can bring some justice for Gabby, and as well the public be aware of what Brian Laundrie looks like. Because I'm sure you are aware the hiker at the Appalachian Trail basically had to pull out his phone to make sure it was Brian Laundrie. Also, the hiker pronounced Brian Laundrie's name wrong. He said Brian Lowry. I don't want that happening. I want all of America along the northeastern coast to know exactly what they're looking for and know exactly what he looks like. So let's just watch the Petito's family statement right here, where they want him in a jail cell. Very, very, impassioned and really inspiring in a way.
I want to see him in a jail cell for the rest of his life, where he's an outdoorsman, being in that concrete cell, and he can't go see those trees and hug those, and smell the fresh air like that.
As an outdoorsman, that would be in a cement box.
Yeah, I hope we find him alive so that, he could get some sort of closure on this case, and know that some sort of justice has been found, even though that's really, really hard to say in this case, because I don't think anything will have any justice for Gabby right now, even if we do find him. But yeah, I really hope that he is not dead, even though the Florida Reserve basically said that there was if there is a body in there, there would be a bunch of birds circulating. So, we're kind of left in the dark and kind of left wondering, like, what are they looking at the Florida Reserve? They must find evidence. They must know something, right? Well, we actually got an interview with the police, and they had something very, very interesting to say. So let's pull that up. When asked if they found anything, thank you so much, Joan Marson.
No, other than his car, that we know was there at the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park leading to the Carlton.
Ooh, did I not even play?
No, other than his car,
yeah.
That we know was there at the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park leading to the Carlton.
So that's how you pronounce it, Myakkahatchee Creek. I'm not even going to pretend I can know how to say that. I actually just learned how to pronounce Appalachian. I always say Appalachian. It's Appalachia. So it's like an apple being thrown at you. So that's how they pronounce it. I'm not even going to pretend to say the Florida Reserve, but that's basically all they're doing there is because of that Mustang that they're at that Florida Reserve, guys. Like, that's the only reason why. It's been 3 weeks. They have not found a thing. It's so disappointing. A lot of the times I come on here and I go, breaking news. They're back at the Florida Reserve. There's hiding activity. We get on the helicopter. Nothing's happening, guys. Like, it's so disappointing. I just don't want this case to go cold, but, they haven't found anything. There hasn't been any more new leads in this case in quite some time. Let's look at what else he has to say. When the police officer, on the topic of the Petito family wanting to find him alive, let's look at what the police had to say if he was found alive.
It's possible. I certainly think that it would not surprise me if he is. It wouldn't surprise me if he's not.
So again, it's a 50-50 chance that he is alive or if he's dead. The police wouldn't say anything. So a big thing that we talk about on this channel is the Laundrie family basically, potentially planting the Mustang at the Florida Reserve as a red herring. Again, their story kept changing. They said this September 14th. Now they're saying this September 13th. Did they get caught in a lie? Is that the reason why their lawyer Bertolino is talking about this case? Is because, there is footage out there of their Mustang being in their driveway on September 15th. If he really did go missing on September 14th, thank you so much, Holy Moody. I love that sticker. If he really did go missing September 14th and they waited 2 days to tow the truck home, why is it that there's footage of their car in the driveway on September 15th? So they had to change their story and they went on record. So it looks like the Laundries only talk when pressure is put on them. That's why I love that plane so much, is because it's basically like the pressure's on you. You have to talk. I personally love seeing the paparazzi out there basically treating them like they're Britney Spears in 2008, flashing all those paparazzi cameras, because it does put pressure on them. They want their life to be, normal again. Christopher Laundrie didn't actually mow the lawn, and I think weeks. We haven't seen him leave the house. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Kathy Leon. We haven't seen him. Thank you so much. We haven't seen him leave the house in like so long. His grass is overgrown. We have a trash can that's basically stinking. Oh my goodness, Myra Willison. We have a trash can that's stinking. You know, the only time he left the house was when he went to go search the Florida Reserve. And so when that happened, you know, all the paparazzi came out and followed him around. The FBI were the ones that actually stalled so that he can get away from the reporters. He doesn't want to talk to reporters. He didn't really want to talk to the police. The police were the ones that basically made him go, and it came to his house for him to report their son missing. They did not report their son missing even. They had to get the police at their house to report their son missing. And also, I just want to point out in that situation, the police were actually watching Brian Laundrie the entire time he was in that house. They were watching. And then Brian Laundrie somehow slipped away. And it's just very bizarre, this story. And there's something that I want to point out, and there's speculation, but the cousin, Joseph Laundrie, worked for the Nassau police, which is a county over. Thank you so much, Cheesy Peasy. Worked for a county over. So there's a lot of speculation, a lot of theories there that maybe there is some sort of like, you know, they're helping him get away. There's also this speculation that maybe they actually do know where he is, and they know he's in the wilderness, and they know he's going to be safe in the wilderness, and they're just waiting to capture him to build a case against him. And because in the meantime, it's very hard to get people in jail for homicide, so they're trying to build the best case right now, and then when they're ready, they're going to snatch him out of the wilderness. I don't know if that's true. I think there's a lot of fishiness going on. How do you lose a guy, Brian Laundrie, out of their own home? Very bizarre. Also, you know, the Laundrie family basically not reporting Gabby Petito missing. I repeat that a lot in here. Peace for Petitos, exactly. The only people I want, thank you so much, Mia Louise. The only people I want peace for, the only victims in this scenario is Gabby Petito and her family. I don't feel bad for them at all. No peace, no justice, no peace, I say. Jamie Fox, thank you so much. Yeah, the media are on the front lawn, and they're actually spending, I think, like $2,500 a day paying the neighbors that fee to basically camp out on the front lawn. The Laundries are not cooperating. They're not talking. We have drones flying over them. There's like theories of a hand coming out of their bed. They're being watched, and they know it. And, you know, a lot of internet sleuths maybe like to joke around that maybe they can run away. But you know what? Every little movement they make is being watched. Every little smile that they make on that Florida Reserve looking for their son is being ridiculed. There should be no smiling for the Laundries right now. Nothing's funny. You should be straight-faced. And again, a lot of things that are problematic about this is that if my son were missing, I don't think I would be necessarily inside getting Dunkin' Donuts and Uber Eats and basically eating McDonald's all day. I would be out there in the Florida Reserve looking for him. Not to pass judgment on them, but just the way they're acting, going in the backyard gardening, you know, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up to me. It seems like it's way too relaxed and chill. Like they should be doing more, in my opinion, and they should be trying to cooperate with the family as much as possible. Can you imagine if your daughter-in-law were to go missing and your son was the last one with them, and you just basically go stonewall on that family? I don't know how they sleep at night. I don't even know how they eat. Like the first couple weeks this story broke, I barely ate. I lost like 10 pounds, and seeing them eat for me pretty much, like McDonald's, and like, you know, I was losing my mind, honestly. I don't want to pass judgment on them, but wow. So again, there's a lot of questions if that story is even real, if that Mustang is even real, if that Mustang at the reserve was real. Why would you take a Mustang hiking? Again, like, why would you take the Mustang away from the Florida Reserve if that's your son's only means of transportation? Like, if your son is missing in that Florida Reserve, you're not going to take the Mustang away. You're going to leave it there for him if he comes back, or you're going to leave it for there when he comes back, and you're going to look for him. You're going to keep that Mustang in that driveway until he comes back, and you're going to look for him. You're not just going to drive that Mustang home. I mean, it just makes no sense. There's a lot of questions on the Laundries. They've been caught in so many lies. Their story is changing. Just talk, Laundries. If you're watching this, just talk. Like, So let's just look at if the cops could verify that story, because again, guys, the Laundries could be charged with aiding and abetting if they do find out that they scrubbed the van clean, which, by the way, the van looked very clean. If they helped their son get away from a homicide, they'll be charged with aiding and abetting and potentially be on the hook for the Florida Reserve search. Congratulations, Ratch. Today I am 6 months sober. That is so awesome. Congratulations. Welcome to my channel. We all just love to hang out here. So hopefully you're as obsessed now with this case as I am, with all the awesome free time you have now. So let's watch this.
We've seen a change in that story recently. We're still keeping a lot of those details of what we believe to have seen and observed and know to ourselves, for the integrity of the investigation. But, some of the things that they've said recently, I think have fit more into that. Yeah,
so again, these clips are really short, but this is what the police had to say. Let's listen to it one more time. I was reading the chat and I didn't even listen to it.
Certainly we've seen a change in that story recently.
Yeah, they've seen a change.
We're still keeping a lot of those details of what we believe to have seen and observed and know to ourselves, for the integrity of the investigation. But, some of the things that they've said recently, I think have fit more into that.
Yeah, again, congrats, Rach. That's a big deal. Yeah, so just going off of that, the police basically said they're changing their story a lot. Very bizarre. I don't think the Northport police are the most equipped to deal with this scenario, because they basically let the main person of interest in the case get away. Ooh, thank you so much, Teresa Ray. Oh, it's a corgi with a heart. I don't know if she knows she's getting all this love. But basically, they let the main suspect get away, and the FBI is taking over the search. So the Northport police basically are still searching the Florida Reserve with their little airboats and their drones that are apparently large but look kind of like normal drones to me, no offense. I don't really think that they're necessarily the best people for the job. I don't think they're that equipped to deal with this situation. You're right. Parents with missing children are desperate for attention, not trying to avoid it. Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. Angelica Joy, really appreciate these super chats. Sharisa Ray, thank you so much for the corgi. You guys are awesome. So much fun to hang out with. So again, yeah, being desperate and all that stuff is something that is, really at the top of my mind. And I just don't think that they're behaving like innocent people, gardening, getting Uber Eats, like things like that. So again, every little thing of them is being scrutinized right now. And the cops basically are pointing out that there's discrepancies between what they say, and what they say again later on. Like, again, the Laundries seem to have this thing where they will remember more as time goes on. And I think a lot of that has to do with their getting caught in lies. Again, with the Mustang was in the driveway on September 15th. It should have been September 16th if their son went hiking September 14th. It's just like, there's so much to keep track of. Thank you so much, Julie Remetz. So, maybe the Petitos will get their wish, and maybe Brian Laundrie will be found. This is a theory given to me by Living Better Too, I think his name is. I'm so sorry. If you come to this channel to learn about names, you've come to the wrong channel. I butcher every name wrong. So this is a theory that somebody actually sent to me, and I found it very, very interesting. So the Appalachian Trails, as we all know, they go to somewhere familiar. They go to somewhere familiar. They go into the Fort DeSoto campground. This is a familiar place. Living Walker 32. Thank you so much. Please don't send hate to anybody on my channel. But Living Walker gave me this really awesome little tidbit of information that I thought I would just come on here and share. If there's an app called the Dirt app, and Gabby, Petito, and Brian Laundrie basically really love this app, and they used to contribute to it so much. And you can find a lot of the places they used to go to. One of the places they went to is Fort DeSoto Park over and over and over again. Brian Laundrie went there. And one of the last places they went together, Brian and Gabby, was none other than the Appalachian Trail. And this is the very last time before the cross-country road trip they went on a hike. So this guy's theory is that he's trying to relive out her birthday by going to the Appalachian Trail. So if we look at this Instagram post done by Gabby Petito. It's her on the Appalachian Trail in Georgia. And then if we look at the hiker sighting, the Appalachian Trail in Georgia is just a 2-hour ride away from this area. So our theory is, and I agree with it, is he is going to places that are familiar that he's been to before. And he's also has some sort of, I'm sure, he loved Gabby at one point. So maybe he is trying to reenact their last moments together. This is the last moment he's ever been with Gabby, was on her 22nd birthday on the Appalachian Trail. So he's maybe just out on the Appalachian Trail enjoying the memories he had with her. Because as we all know, Fort DeSoto was a campground that they used to frequent together. And that's one of the first places he went when he came back from his cross-country trip. And again, there are 28 sightings of him on the Appalachian Trail. The FBI is now investigating. They interviewed the hiker, and they let the information. The FBI said there's actually been 10 sightings that they're aware of. So the Northport, the police in the area have 28. The FBI have 10. So I think, he is reliving out these last moments with Gabby in the Appalachian Trail. So on the left-hand side, you see Gabby's photo. And on the right-hand side, you see where they were camping and near Waterville Road. It's all in the same area. It's the Georgia area. There is actually a sighting of him reported to authorities in the Georgia area called Peachtree City in Georgia. There was one in Virginia, and there was one in Tennessee and North Carolina, and there was another one in North Carolina that we know of. All of those sightings have made the news. I don't know about the other, 24 sightings or whatever have you, but those are the ones I know about, and there are a lot of sightings in this area. Again, someone pointed out that Brian Laundrie has a very common look. And again, something that people are pointing out is that the car that he is allegedly driving, because I thought at the start that he was, driving, he was walking, he was a hiker. Turns out that he is actually driving around in what looks like a Ford F-150 truck. So if we want to play a new clip that I found of the Appalachian Trail hiker, I find this very, very believable. So let's play a little clip of what he has to say.
I drove about 15 minutes down the road because the guy was just acting weird. I didn't want to be in that area any longer. And when I opened up that picture, and the first picture I saw of him was a portrait view, and the thing that stood out was that black mustache and beard, and really tight, really thick. And I saw that first profile or portrait view of him. I knew absolutely. After I called the FBI, I was looking again, and I saw a profile view of him. And, of course, he was sitting in his truck, so most of the time I saw the profile view of him. And my heart, my chest, because it was just like that was the guy I was talking to 15 minutes ago. I mean, so, I'm so confident it's not funny. I mean, I'm just 100% confident in it.
So he's like 100% confident that it was him. Pretty crazy. Something that this guy pointed out was that he was acting very strange. He pulled up to him. It looked like he was trying to ask for directions. And when he pulled up to him, he basically sat there for a minute and just like stared into space. And then the other guy was like, excuse me, you were the one that pulled me over. Why are you acting so strange? So as we all know, like Brian Laundrie, kind of acts a bit strange. And there's reports out there that he was off his medication. I don't want to say that too much, but that is an allegation thrown out there by the public that he potentially does have some sort of mental issue there. So again, like, was he trying to use an insanity defense in that scenario? Is he trying to build a case that he is actually insane and that's the reason why he's out and doing this stuff? We don't know. Also something that's very compelling about that is that on August 28th, 2 drivers picked him up as a hitchhiker. And in both those cases, he mentioned his girlfriend and, gave an alibi. Again, with this hiker scenario in the Appalachian Trail, we get the same story, a story about his girlfriend and, an alibi. So very, very compelling evidence. I don't know where he got the Ford F-150 truck, but there is an image out there floating around of the Fort DeSoto campsite where there was a Ford F-150 looking truck in the parkway. I don't know if that matches up with the timelines, but it is very compelling evidence. This is another one, again, on the Appalachian Trail in Virginia that I find very compelling, and it honestly sounds like him and looks like him and everything. So again, let's get into that one. I played a lot on my channel. This one has not been debunked as far as I know.
Parking lot's right here.
So you can see that he has an out-toed walk here. And it even sounds like him. Not from the trails. So that is the second sighting, and I just want to give a little quick update on Dog the Bounty Hunter. He is actually still out there looking for Brian Laundrie in the Fort DeSoto campground, according to Lisa Chapman. Just a little update here on Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Boat over so Dog can get through there. I got it.
So Dog the Bounty Hunter is unlicensed to capture fugitives after his 1976 murder conviction and could face kidnapping charges if he finds Brian Laundrie and holds him against his will. If Dog the Bounty Hunter were to find fugitive Brian Laundrie, he wouldn't be able to arrest or detain him, or he'd run the risk of being charged with kidnapping. That's because Dog, whose real name is Dwayne Chapman, is not actually licensed as a bounty hunter or private investigator in Florida or anywhere else, making his hunt for Laundrie potentially dicey as he's legally banned from arresting or holding anyone against their will. According to professional Florida bounty hunters, there is no legal difference between Dog or any citizen who decides to join the search for Laundrie, whose girlfriend, Gabby Petito, was found murdered. So very, very interesting little development. Thank you so much, Linda Thomas. I'm in Queensland, Australia. Florida is 14 hours behind me. I wake up every day wanting the updates. Picture him behind bars with Gabby laughing. Wow. Yeah, so I want to pull that up because I love that photo, honestly. The funny thing is, when I actually started doing this live stream right now, I basically was like, hey, Siri, what time is it in Australia? Because I know a lot of my viewers are Australian. Queensland is beautiful. I went to the Gold Coast, so I loved it there. Very beautiful. This is Fort DeSoto campground of him behind bars. Again, this is a site that they used to frequent and Brian Laundrie frequented. Thank you so much, Tim Bray. I love that sticker. Yeah, you're working out. I actually worked out today in the first time in like 2 weeks, so perfect sticker. So Gaz Petito, basically posted this at the Fort DeSoto campground where Brian Laundrie's behind bars and she's smiling up at him. So hopefully this becomes our reality, guys. I feel like, it's the calm before the storm. Today was very, very quiet. Hopefully it picks up later on. So just to give a little update on how you can find Brian Laundrie, because apparently it's much up to the public right now. Safety first, though, folks. So we have new sketches done by a forensic artist. I don't know how I feel about these sketches, but these are the newest sketches we have of Brian Laundrie. So very interesting. I don't know what to think of them. A famed forensic sketch artist has shared what she believes Brian Laundrie may look like now, more than 3 weeks after he vanished amid an investigation into the disappearance of his slain fiancée, Gabby Petito. Lewis Gibson shared a series of sketches showing the potential changes to Laundrie's appearance that the wanted 23-year-old may have either intentionally or unintentionally altered. Laundrie was last seen sometime around mid-September, with his parents initially claiming he disappeared on September 14th after telling them he was going hiking in Florida's Carlton Reserve, but never returned. So that article actually got it wrong too. Not September 14th, it's September 13th now, folks, because the Laundries changed their story. But anyway, this is the new sketches. Someone pointed out that these glasses are very big for his face, and I would have to agree. Yeah, he looks like he lost a bit of weight. It looks like he has his beard shaved. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of a different picture that I saw of him. If I just want to pull up the Chris Laundrie spiel I gave, it reminds me of this picture a lot. So maybe like they know that, you know, this is potentially what he looks like. Again, the Appalachian Trail guy said that he was wearing a bandana. So he's most likely wearing headwear. He's a bald guy, so in the body cam footage, he's like, I don't like being out in the sun because the sun goes on my head and it burns me. So he's always trying to protect his head. And also the video of Cassie Laundrie released, he was also wearing some sort of head wrap. It looked like he took off his shirt and tied it around his head so it didn't burn. So again, another way of identifying him is that he has very peculiar ears. So let's pull those up. These are his ears. These are his tattoos. So his ears are pointy, and he also has identifying tattoos. This tattoo is actually a wedding band for him and Gabrielle. And that is a mountain tattoo with 3 X's, which is very peculiar. But nonetheless, there you have it. He's also in this picture wearing an Appalachian Trail t-shirt. Very, very foreshadowing. And he has those pointy ears. So, I know, bald white guy, very common. Hello, look who's hosting this channel. But, you know, he does have, you know, some identifying features. And also, I just wanted to point out that he also has a somewhat of a out-toed walk. So you can see here that his toes are pointed outwards. Just walking away in an out-toed walk. So pointy ears, out-toed walk, tattoos, and also a little clip of his voice, which can help identify him. He actually does kind of have a little sing-song kind of voice, kind of like, oh, well, I didn't know that, and kind of an accent. It was a really bad impression, but he does have a very like distinctive voice as well. If I actually just want to...
But at the same time, we can't say because you're a male and she's a female, we can't treat this different than if you were the male hitting her. We got to treat it the same.
Yeah, no.
So she's kind of in a tough spot. So unless you have an idea about how she can not go to jail and be separated, do you have friends in town? Somewhere she can stay? Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can
go to jail?
You can't because we don't have a charge for you. Now tomorrow, if you wanted to get with her again tomorrow,
I'm gonna take your radio.
if you want to be with her again tomorrow.
Yeah, he has kind of like a goofy, kind of like a southern twang voice. Very interesting. So that pretty much concludes my show, guys. Thank you so much, Dennis Mayers. I can hang out and read some chats. Pet my dog right here. And if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you never ever, oh my goodness, Sally Sangder. Thank you so much, Sally Sangder. Wow, you did not have to do that. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications so you never, ever, ever miss a video, and you can hang out with me on my live streams. Thank you so much for joining me for my first ever prime time show. I did a part, Debbie writes, I did a part of the Appalachian Trail and that place is scary. Yeah, Joanne writes, he's from New York. Yeah, which is kind of interesting that he has kind of like, to me, he sounds very Southern. I don't know why, but he kind of has this like, kind of like hillbilly voice. I use that word lightly, but it's kind of like, oh, wow. Like, I could say something rude. I don't. Anyway. Brain suit news sooner will be jail. He's definitely chilling in someone's house. Heather writes, hard life for your pup. I know. I literally can't even leave her alone for a minute because she'll just terrorize everything. One time I left her alone for a minute just to grab a sip of water. I come back up. This entire desk is just like thrown on the ground and my laptop's on the floor. I'm like, okay, Can't even leave you alone for like 30 seconds. Hey, I'm Southern Deep Waters 33. I'm sorry. I don't want to be offensive for my impression, but like he does kind of have this like, I thought it was a Southern voice, but I guess not. Ooh. No problem, Mystic at the Crossroads. You covered this more than the local media. Thank you. Yeah, this is my pet case, guys. Like, I'm a huge fan of missing missing cases, cold cases. I love this stuff, and I've always loved this stuff. So I've always wanted to go into this sort of avenue where I talked about these things, but I've never actually found like people wanting to like found my people. So I feel like you guys are my people right now. Like, it's interesting that I thought no one else had this interest, and then all of a sudden I meet you guys and it's like, whoa, there's a lot of interest in this. I'm not alone. Oh, thank you so much, Susie DeMars. I'm sending you an email. So I got my dog. Thank you so much, Katie. I got my dog around the same time this case broke, and she's 3.5 years old. Or 2.5 years old, I'm not sure. So she came with a name called Xena, and I'm not a big fan of the name Xena because Xena, warrior princess. So a name that stuck was Gabby. Yeah, I named right now. I changed her name to Gabby because it just so happened around the same case. So. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I've been obsessed with this case too. Thank you for covering this case. Thank you guys so much. I see people are dropping off right now. Thank you so much to all my mods for keeping this a safe space. And having a lot of fun hanging out. I'm going to wait for that email from you guys. What's up with new suspect? I'm late to feed. Ever heard of 411? Yeah, 411. Missing 411 is one of my favorite books. I watch a lot of Missing 411 actually. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Stephanie Jones. All right, guys. If you miss my live stream, make sure you hit subscribe, ring the bell, and like my video. It really helps out my channel. And thank you so much for all your contributions. Really appreciate everybody coming here and hanging out and speculating with me on this newsworthy event. And thank you to all my mods. You know, on this channel, we believe in building each other up, not putting each other down. So you guys have been awesome, and I really appreciate all your support. Again, guys, justice for Gabby, and I really hope you have a good night. All right, guys. Thank you, Anna Lee Finch. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Be safe, Mia Louise. I love it. Bye. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye.